This is for educational use only. Our group grants permission for our instructor, Mr. Roldan Ardines, to use this as educational material. No copyright infringement intended.
Before we begin, here are the learning outcomes of this presentation. By the end of this video, you will be able to explain the different psychological representation of the self, compare major psychological perspective about identity, analyze the role of internal and social influences in shaping the self, and demonstrate critical and reflective thinking in understanding personal development and applying it to real life. The topic is the self as a cognitive construction. Now let's ask ourselves, why do our thoughts and memories shape who we are? The self is a cognitive construction, meaning it is formed through thinking, reflection, memory, and self-awareness. Rather than existing solely as a physical being, William James explained that the self has two interconnected parts. The I self, which is the active, observing, and experiencing part of the person, and the me self, which includes everything a person can describe about themselves, such as emotions, personality traits, abilities, and past experiences, and social roles. For example, when a student notices that he or she is feels nervous in speaking in front of the class, the I self observes and evaluates this feeling, while the me self includes the anxiety itself, the belief I am shy and how it relates to the past experiences of public speaking. Another example is a young athlete reflecting, I am proud of my teamwork skills, where the I self evaluates performance and the me self acknowledges skills and achievements. This demonstrates that identity is dynamic, constantly shaped by cognitive processes, reflection, and self-awareness, allowing individuals to understand themselves more deeply over time.
Global versus differentiated models. Before I start this topic, what are these models of the self and why do they matter? The self can be understood through global and differentiated models, which are frameworks that explain how individuals perceive themselves across different situations and rules. The global self model represents a broad overall view of oneself, where a person forms general traits like being confident, hardworking, or kind. This model helps maintain a stable sense of identity because it provides consistency in how people see themselves regardless of context. For example, a student may generally view themselves as diligent and responsible, which helps them navigate schoolwork and relationships with a sense of continuity and confidence. So in contrast, the differentiated self-model recognizes that a person's self-perception can change depending on context, environment, or social rules. For instance, a student may behave serious and disciplined in class, creative and relaxed while drawing at home, unfriendly and humorous with close friends. This model shows that the self is flexible and adaptive, allowing individuals to adjust their behavior, attitude, and self-image to fit different situations. Understanding both models together helps a person balance a stable core identity with the ability to adapt socially, promoting personal growth, self-awareness, and effective interaction in daily life.
Have you ever asked yourself, who am I right now? And who I want to become in the future? And I'm here discussing about the topic, the real self and the ideal self. The real self refers to you at the present. It includes your habits, skills, strengths, and weaknesses, and as well as experiences. On the other hand, we have the ideal self, the person who aspires to become. It represents your goals, dreams, and kinds of person you want to be. For example, is a student who often procrastinates represents their real self. But their ideal self may be someone who is organized, disciplined, and academically successful. The gap between the real self and the ideal self can motivate us, improve, and work harder. However, if the gap becomes too wide, this might lead to frustration, pressure, and low self-esteem.
I will discuss the cognitive versus humanistic perspective. Before we ask, how do thinking patterns and personal growth explains who we are? The cognitive perspective focuses on mental processes such as thoughts, beliefs, and self-knowledge, explaining behavior by individuals, processes information, and interpret experiences. For example, a student thinking, "I am not good at presenting," they lose confidence, which affects their performance. The humanistic perspective emphasizing the whole personal growth, self-worth, and self-actualization, assuming all individuals have the capacity to grow and reach their potential. In the same example, a humanistic approach would help the student focuses on strength, recognize opportunities for improvement, and develop self-acceptance.
Good day guys, we are discussing about stable self versus changing self. Before discussing why do some parts of our personality stay the same and why do some change. Stable self includes core traits that remains consistent over time, such as personalities, values, temperament, and beliefs. Their traits provide a continuity and security foundation for identity, helping individuals maintain their consistent sense of who they are. Changing self. Changing self represents adaptive and evolving aspects of identity, shaped by experience, learning, and social interactions. A shy child might becomes confident after joining school clubs, giving presentation, or forming close friends.
Today, I will discuss the internal and social influence on the self. So before we start, I have one question. Why do our thoughts and surroundings affect who we are? So self is shaped by both internal and social influences which can interact constantly. So internal influences include thoughts, emotions, values, beliefs, and also self-reflections that guiding how we perceive ourselves and interpret the world. For example, the students who believe they are creative approaches assignments with a confidence and original ideas, showing the inner thinking affect behaviors. Social influences include family expectation, peer feedbacks, cultural norms, and also community values. So positive reinforcement from teachers, friends, or mentors can strengthen self-confidence, while negative feedbacks may temporarily lower the self-esteem. For instance, praise for a project can make a student capable, while constructive criticism may help them adjust and improve.
And my topic is critical reflection on the development of the self. Before discussing, I have one question. Why is it important to reflect on our experiences to understand ourselves? Critical reflection is the process of examining how experiences, decisions, and relationships shape the self. By reflecting, individuals can identify behavioral patterns, understand beliefs and values, and recognize areas for growth. For example, failing an exam may initially lower confidence, but effectively may reveal the importance of better study habit, time management, and responsibility. Achieving a personal goal like completing a challenging project can highlight strength, increase self-esteem, and motivate future efforts. Reflection helps individuals make informed decisions, adapt to new challenges, and intentionally guide their personal develop, showing that identity formation is an ongoing process shaped by success and setbacks.
I will discuss developing a personal theory of the self. Before discussing, how can we combine psychological concepts to understand ourselves better? Developing a personal theory of the self means integrating ideas like the real self, ideal self, cognitive processes, and social influences to understand one's identity. Through reflection and self-evaluation, individuals can explain why they behave in certain ways, how experience shape personality, and what contributes to success or challenges. For example, understanding that both personal effort and social support lead to achievement helps for a balanced self-view, recognizing strengths and areas for improvement. This demonstrates critical thinking because it applies psychological concepts to real-life experiences, helping guide personal growth and intentionally.
Today we're discussing about applying self-understanding in daily life. So before we start, let me ask you a question. Why is understanding yourself is important in your daily lives? So understanding yourself is important because it helps you make better decisions, manage your emotions, and improve your relationships with others. And self-understanding comes from different psychological perspectives. This includes cognitive self, humanistic self, stable and changing self, and lastly, the real and ideal self. When we understand our thoughts, emotions, strengths, weaknesses, and values, we become more aware of who we are. For example, a student who knows their strengths and weaknesses can create an effective study schedule, manage stress properly, and communicate better with classmates and teachers instead of comparing themselves to others. They focus on improving their own ability. Applying self-understanding also helps in making career choices, building healthy relationships, and achieving personal goals.